Today we're diving into well, the extraordinary and, frankly, sometimes challenging life of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one. We've got some great sources here, documentary transcripts, biographical notes.
A real mix. And we're going to
Yeah,
use them to try and, cut through some of the myths and really understand the man behind all that incredible music,
exactly. What's great is we can trace his path chronologically right from that child prodigy phase.
which everyone knows about.
Right, but through to the revolutionary composer he became, looking at the key moments, but also the everyday stuff that shaped him.
And our mission, really, is to give you a clear path to understanding not just what he did, but maybe why his life turned out the way it did. A shortcut, if you like, to appreciating the full human story behind the legend. So let's start right at the beginning. Salzburg, Austria. January 27th, 1756. That's when Johannes Chrysostomus Wolfgangus Theophilus Mozart was born.
Quite a name.
He later preferred Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Amadeus being the Latin version of Theophilus, apparently. Around 1770, he adopted that.
And it was a deeply musical family, wasn't it? That was crucial. His father, Leopold Mozart,
Right.
he was a violinist, a composer himself, in the court of the Prince Archbishop Sigmund Graf von Schwartenbach.
Who was actually a real music lover, wanted Salzburg to be a big musical center.
He did. And Wolfgang's mother, Anna Maria Pertl. Now, the sad part is they had 7 children, but only Wolfgang and his older sister, Maria Anna, they called her Nannerl, only those 2 survived infancy.
Wow. So a very small family unit.
Very. And that dynamic really shaped everything early on.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me. The discovery of his talent. It wasn't like a lightning bolt, apparently. Around 1759, Leopold started teaching Nannerl, who was 7, the clavier, harpsichord, keyboard instruments. And little Wolfgang, only 3 years old,
Just hilarious.
was just mesmerized watching her. And then he starts picking up her exercise book and just plays it, astonishing his father.
It must have been incredible. Leopold saw it straight away, this gift. He immediately started teaching Wolfgang organ and violin, too.
So young.
And by age 6, get this, he's impressing adult musicians. Sight reading, playing second violin in string trios, then taking the first violin part.
And improvising with tiny hands.
Exactly. And he'd already composed the first movement of K1A, 1B, 1C, early clavier pieces at age 5.
5 years old.
And apparently when someone said they were difficult, he just said, you must practice very hard to be able to play it.
Okay, so Leopold wasn't keeping this under wraps.
Not at all. Early exposure in Munich for the Elector Maximilian III. The show was already on the road.
So Leopold realized pretty quickly that Salzburg, even with its ambitions, just wasn't big enough for Wolfgang.
Right. Too small a pond.
So he decides to take him and Nannerl on the road, show them off to Europe, which sounds glamorous, but was a huge risk.
A massive undertaking. Their first big trip was to Vienna, 1762. Wolfgang's only 6.
And that's the famous story, right? Impressing Empress Maria Theresa at Schönbrunn Palace.
That's the one. Apparently jumped right onto her lap, kissed her. Very charming.
But it wasn't all charm, was it? He got sick.
He did. Seriously ill. Could have been smallpox, maybe scarlet fever. And the Empress actually worried Leopold was pushing them too hard. Even then.
A sign of things to come, maybe.
Perhaps. Then the 7 Years' War ends in 63, and that really opens the floodgates for travel.
Which leads to the big one, the Grand Tour. 3.5 years.
Monumental, partly funded by the Archbishop. They went everywhere. Munich, Augsburg, Leopold's hometown, where he bought a travel clavier.
Smart move.
Frankfurt, that's where he did the playing blindfolded trick. And apparently a young Goethe saw him.
No way.
Then Brussels, Paris, performing for Louis V at Versailles, impressing Madame de Pompadour, and his first compositions published there too.
Incredible momentum.
And then London.
London, yes, 1764 to 65. King George III and Queen Charlotte loved them. He composed sonatas, dedicated one to the Queen. Spent over a year there.
And crucially, he studied there, right? Yes, with Johann Christian Bach, J.S. Bach's youngest son. A huge influence. But again, hardship. Both kids got really sick in The Hague on the way back. Took a long time to recover.
It just shows the physical cost of this life for children.
Absolutely. So they get back to Salzburg, November 66. Wolfgang's almost 11. He's famous across Europe.
But people are starting to whisper, right? Is it really him or is Leopold writing this stuff?
Exactly. The rumors started. So Archbishop Sigmund, maybe curious, maybe skeptical, decides to test him.
The lock-in.
Right. Locks Wolfgang in a room for a week with a libretto. He comes out with 18 arias for Die Schuldigkeit des ersten Gebots. And later that year, his first actual opera, Apollo et Hyacinthus.
Okay, that should have settled it. Genius confirmed.
You'd think. But then a second Vienna trip in 6 to 7, and they walked straight into a smallpox epidemic.
Oh, no.
Both kids caught it. Wolfgang's case was really bad, apparently. His father wrote he was blind for 9 days. The pox marks covered his eyelids.
Terrifying. Smallpox was killer.
1 in 4 died. They were incredibly lucky. During that trip, though, he also met Emperor Joseph II, who commissioned an opera.
Another chance.
Yes, but the local musicians in Vienna apparently blocked it, still suspicious of Leopold pulling the strings.
So frustrating. It seems these early tours, they started as showcasing a prodigy. But the goal shifted, didn't it? It became about finding a secure job.
Exactly. Leopold was desperate to find a stable position for Wolfgang, which is why Italy became the next focus.
Right, the proving ground for opera. So Leopold takes only Wolfgang this time.
3 years in Italy. They crossed the Alps in winter. Imagine that. Arrived in Milan, January 1770. Wolfgang's 14.
And gets an opera commission almost immediately.
Yep, and he's studying, too, with big names like Giovanni Battista Martini in Bologna.
The theorists.
The very one. Martini helped him get into the Accademia Filarmonica in Bologna, a huge honor, usually for composers over 20.
So recognition of his learned skill now, not just raw talent.
Definitely. And then there's the famous story in Rome, The Misery.
Yes. Hearing Allegri's piece in the Sistine Chapel once and writing it down from memory. The Pope was amazed.
He gave him the Order of the Golden Spur. But, some later interpretations suggest he might have had access to a copy, maybe arranged it.
Still impressive, but maybe not pure photographic memory. Adds a bit of nuance.
It does. But his opera in Milan, Mitraillette Re di Ponte, that premiered December 1770, huge hit.
22 performances.
Packed houses. And the veteran composer Hassi apparently said, "This boy will make us all forgotten."
Wow. High praise. And that led to more commissions.
Ascanio in Elba, Lucio Silla, he was establishing himself as a major opera force.
So surely now he gets a job offer in Italy.
You'd think. Archduke Ferdinand Parl in Milan, who was only a couple of years older than Wolfgang, he wanted to hire him.
Perfect.
But no. Empress Maria Theresa, again, she vetoed it, wrote this letter saying, basically, Milan didn't need a composer.
Why? Just budget cuts.
That's the thinking. The Habsburg state finances were likely tight after wars. So, despite the triumphs, back to Salzburg.
Ouch. That must have stung.
A real setback. Back in Salzburg, he does get his first paid job, though. Concertmeister.
Finally. How much?
150 florins a year.
That
doesn't sound like much.
It wasn't. And this was under the new Prince Archbishop, Hieronymus Colloredo. Schrattenbach had died.
And Colloredo. That relationship wasn't great, was it?
No. That appointment was really the start of a very difficult period for Mozart.
Yeah, you can imagine the contrast. Italy's grand stages, the buzz, then back to Salzburg, which he saw as this, narrow pond.
Exactly. And creatively stifling. The court theater closed in 1775, so no chance for the big operas he wanted to write. He must have felt trapped.
And this new boss, Archbishop Colloredo, what was his deal?
Well, he was complicated. Progressive in some ways, Enlightenment ideas, had Voltaire's portrait up.
Okay.
But he was not a music lover, saw the arts as an expense, cut budgets, and he paid Mozart that tiny salary, 150 florins. Treated him like a servant, really.
Not like the genius composer Europe knew him as. Not at all. So naturally, they clashed. Mozart started getting a reputation with the nobles as being, difficult.
I can see why. He must have been desperate to get out again.
Absolutely. He composed La Finta Giardiniera, a comic opera, for Munich in 74. It went well, but still no job offer.
So what did he do?
He resigned, 1777, just quit the Salzburg job and took off with his mother, Anna Maria, to look for work. A really bold move.
Where did they go?
Mannheim first. Big music scene there. And that's where he fell hard for Aloysia Weber.
The soprano.
Yes, 16 years old. He saw her talent instantly, wrote these amazing, really difficult arias for her.
But Leopold wasn't happy about this romance.
Not one bit. The thought of Wolfgang, penniless, running off to Italy with her, he insisted they go to Paris instead. Get him away from her. Still controlling things.
Paris. Did things improve there?
No, Paris was a disaster professionally. Baron von Grimm tried to help, but the nobles just weren't interested in supporting him this time.
And then, tragedy struck.
Yes. Amidst all that frustration, his mother got sick. The lodgings were apparently poor, damp. Her health just failed. She died in Paris, July 1778. She was only 57.
Oh, that's awful. How did Wolfgang handle it?
He actually delayed telling Leopold, wrote these careful letters. Leopold was furious when he found out, blamed Wolfgang. It's just heartbreaking.
Utterly. So, no job, mother gone. He had to go back to Salzburg.
Reluctantly, yes. January 1779. Leopold had somehow managed to get his old job back for him, Concertmeister again.
Any better pay?
He'd been promised 500 florins, but Colloredo cut it to 450.
Unbelievable. Adding insult to injury.
And on the way back, he stopped in Munich. Saw Aloysia Weber again.
How'd that go?
She basically pretended she didn't know him. Cold rejection. He wrote to Leopold, just devastated.
What a terrible time, yet he was still composing.
Incredibly, yes. Important works like the Coronation Mass, the Sinfonia Concertante for violin and viola was his favorite instrument, apparently.
Ah, interesting.
And then a major commission in 1780 from Munich, again, the opera Idomeneo.
Idomeneo. That was a success, wasn't it?
A huge success, premiered January 81. It's really seen as one of his first truly great operas that's still a standard today, a real turning point.
Okay, so Idomeneo is a hit. But that success kind of leads directly to the final break with Colloredo back in Vienna, doesn't it?
It really does. After Idomeneo, Mozart travels to Vienna in March 81. Colloredo is there for Emperor Joseph II's succession celebrations, and Mozart has to attend him.
And the old tensions just boiled over.
Completely. Mozart hated being treated like a lackey. He started pushing back, dining with aristocrats without asking permission, showing his independence.
So he'd quit again.
He tried to resign in May. Colloredo refused at first and finally let him go, but it was ugly. Famously, Colloredo's steward, Count Arco, basically kicked him out.
Literally kicked him.
That's the story. Kicked out of the Archbishop's service. A really symbolic, dramatic moment. He was free, but it was a brutal break.
Wow. So freedom at last. He decides to stay in Vienna, become a freelance composer.
Which was a really new idea then. Risky, but offered total artistic freedom.
And he moves in with the Webers. Again.
Yep, they'd moved to Vienna too. Aloysia was married by now, but Wolfgang falls for her younger sister, Constance. She was 19.
And they got married. Did Leopold approve this time?
No. Leopold was still against it. Constance's family wasn't keen either initially. They ended up marrying in August 1782, pretty quickly, without Mozart's family there.
Turbulent beginnings. And their family life. It was marked by tragedy too, wasn't it?
Deeply. They had 6 children together, but incredibly sadly, 4 died in infancy. Their first son, Raymond Leopold, lived only 2 months.
I can't even imagine. 4 children. That grief must have been immense.
Unthinkable, yet somehow professionally, this Vienna period was just an explosion of creativity.
Right. He becomes the top pianist in Vienna, wins that famous piano duel against Clementi.
Exactly, and he gets the commission for Die Entführung aus dem Serail, the abduction from the Seraglio.
A German opera, a Singspiel.
Right, and it was a massive hit across Europe, really cemented his fame.
He was also consciously learning, expanding his style.
Very much so. He got access to Baron van Sweeten's collection of Bach and Handel scores, studied them intensely, copied them out. You can hear that Baroque influence, the counterpoint, starting to deepen his work.
And he made important connections too. Haydn.
A crucial friendship. Haydn was 24 years older, hugely respected, and Haydn recognized Mozart's genius immediately. Told Leopold, "Your son is the greatest composer known to me."
Either in person or by name. Amazing quote.
It is. Mozart dedicated 6 brilliant string quartets to Haydn in return. He also joined the Freemasons around 1784.
Which influenced some works like the Magic Flute later.
Yes, but it was also practical. It was a network. He got crucial loans from fellow Masons when money got tight.
Okay, let's talk about the money.
Yeah.
Because here's the paradox, right? 1784, he's earning loads, maybe 4,000 florins.
A huge amount for the time.
Yet he's constantly in debt. Why?
He just lived incredibly lavishly. Expensive apartments, servants, a cook, a hairdresser, a horse, constant parties. His fortepiano alone cost 900 florins.
Which was like 2 years' salary back in Salzburg.
Exactly. And Constanze, his wife, she apparently liked the expensive lifestyle too. So huge success, huge talent, but terrible money management, always scrambling.
Living like nobility, maybe, but without the secure income.
Pretty much. It highlights how precarious being a freelance artist was then.
But despite the money worries, the operas kept coming. The collaboration with Ponte.
Lorenzo da Ponte, the librettist. That partnership was legendary. 3 absolute masterpieces.
The Marriage of Figaro in '86 caused a stir, right? It's subversive.
Hugely successful, especially in Prague. Then Don Giovanni in '87 premiered in Prague too, another triumph. Darker, more complex.
And Così fan tutte in 1790. The trilogy complete. It's incredible output.
The peak of his operatic genius, really unleashed by that Viennese freedom.
But more personal loss came during this time, too. His father, Leopold, died in 1787.
Yes, at 67. Their relationship had been strained for years, really since the marriage to Constance. Wolfgang didn't go to the funeral.
Sad. And they lost another child, too.
A daughter, just 6 months old, in mid-1788. Just devastating blows.
And yet, amidst that grief, he writes his last three symphonies, numbers 39, 40, and 41.
All in the summer of 1788, including the Jupiter. It's almost unbelievable, turning that pain into such powerful, transcendent music.
Truly staggering. He did get a court appointment eventually, imperial composer.
Yes, end of 1787, but it was part-time, paid 800 florins. Better than nothing, but not the grand position he might have hoped for earlier.
So we arrive at 1791, his final year, and it's just frantic.
A whirlwind, absolutely. Productivity, opportunity, and then ultimately tragedy. It felt like everything was happening at once.
He got a new church appointment, right? Or the promise of one.
Assistant Kapellmeister at St. Stephen's Cathedral. With the promise of the top job and a good salary, 2,000 florins when the current guy died. Financial security was finally looking possible.
Finally. But he was juggling massive projects.
3 huge commissions at the same time. The Magic Flute, the German Singspiel,
Full of Masonic themes.
an opera seria for the Emperor's coronation in Prague.
And the Requiem, the mysterious commission.
Yes, the stranger in the mask, Count von Walsegg, who wanted to pass off as his own work. Mozart knew it was dodgy, but the fee was good, and he needed the money.
Always the money.
Always. And he's creating all this while Constanza has their 6th child, Franz Xaver Wolfgang, in July.
Incredible pressure. How were the premieres? Tito in Prague.
It went okay, but wasn't a huge smash initially. But the Magic Flute, which premiered in Vienna on September 30th.
That was the one.
Instant, massive hit, played to packed houses for weeks. One of his most beloved works, even then. A real triumph right at the end.
But the pace, it was taking its toll.
Definitely. His health just plummeted that autumn. He started getting paranoid, thinking he was being poisoned.
The Salieri myth connection?
Right, though there's no real evidence for poisoning. It was likely just illness brought on by overwork, maybe infection, kidney problems. By November, he's bedridden.
Still working on the Requiem.
Dictating parts to his assistant, Susmer, right up until the end, trying to finish it.
And then, December 5th, 1791.
Just after midnight, he died, not even 36 years old.
So young, buried quickly, simply. St. Mark's Cemetery. No grand funeral.
A very modest affair. The exact cause of death, we still debate it. Strep infection leading to kidney failure is a strong theory, maybe rheumatic fever, hemorrhage. We'll likely never know for sure.
And the Requiem remained unfinished.
Susmer completed it based on Mozart's instructions and sketches, which allowed Constance to get the final payment. Crucial for her survival.
His legacy, though.
Yeah.
It's just immense. One of the absolute greats.
Undeniably. Often put right alongside Beethoven. But his life. Such a contrast. This unbelievable genius, but constant struggle. Losing children, chasing jobs, fighting debt. Some of it self-inflicted, maybe?
Dying just as things might have finally stabilized for him. The irony is crushing.
It really is. So much music likely left unwritten.
Reflecting on it all, the incredible rise, the impact, that tragic end, it really does make you wonder.
Absolutely. And it raises that big question, doesn't it? If he had lived longer, like Haydn, into his 60s or 70s, what would he have produced? Would he have overshadowed even Beethoven? How would his music have changed?
A profound what if. It speaks volumes about his genius. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Mozart's extraordinary and, well, very human life. We hope you picked up some fascinating insights today.
And we really hope you'll keep exploring his music. There's just so much there to discover. Go listen.
Until next time.